And I am alive talking about movies once again. Now, I will start by saying many things about Hurry Up Tomorrow. The first thing, I don't care or I don't know The Weeknd, which is the artist that inspired that movie. And based on what I've seen and what I heard, it's actually the main character of that movie. So I'm not a fan. And that's the opening statement I got. Now, the other thing is, we will have spoilers here. We will have an in depth talk. And I will admit, I will be the crazy one in the room. Um, I will have a very hot take. And I've seen a lot of critique, a lot of people, fans, and critique. They were very harsh on that movie. And I I see where they're coming from. I don't agree, and I will be the last man standing, the last defender of that movie, and probably the only defender of that movie, and most likely the only person that will talk about it anyway, because I think I will be the minority among the ones that like it, and I think my feeling aside, I think it's a good movie, and people are just overly harsh. That's my statement. And I must also say, I am a rapper, but very amateur. I'm a beginner in that matter, and I'm not very known anyway. So a lot of things that happens in that movie, I can relate. And maybe that's why I see value others don't see within that movie. And I think the discussion around that movie is very important. So it will be more than just a review. We will look into some of the comments on Rotten Tomato. I will be reacting and disagreeing most likely because, again, I'm the only one that really enjoyed that movie. And we will also look into IMDB as well. So this is the show tonight. I react to Other's Take. And again, I think it's a good movie. It's just a movie that's underappreciated, and people just want to find issues. And usually I'm the one that tries to find issues, and I wrap my head around what could be issues I find in that movie, and I could not find any. I'm crazy, I guess. So with that being said, let's look into Rotten Tomato first. And again, usually I don't do that. I don't care about Rotten Tomato, but here I feel like it's relevant because I will be the only voice that will stand by that movie. So we need to share other people opinion. So let's do this. There we go. So I won't go through the entire Rotten Tomato because again I feel like it's more of the same. Comments and comments and comments. It's more of the same. So we will only cover 5 comments. The top 5 critics and the top 5 fan or random reviewers. So we get a diversity of opinion on that movie. That's the point of that stream because I will be the only one that will most likely like that movie. So I still want to provide you information on other people reception on that movie. So the first comment: the script run in circle in an effort to pad its runtime, and the finale is so self-flagellating that it feels like a parody of broken artist tropes. I strongly disagree with that, but hey, that's a critique. So what do I know, right? Um, I thought the runtime worked very well, but that's me. And I I think to say it's a parody, it's not really to understand where the people involved in that movie are coming from. And it's this genuine. But again, that's coming from me that liked the movie. And I'm in the minority. I'm the only one that will stand by that movie. So maybe I'm crazy. Um, Number two, the flick may have a bright future as a midnight movie, perhaps as a double bill with Tommy Wiseau The Room. That movie is legendary. The Room is a movie that exists. I heard a lot about The Room. I haven't seen The Room. I don't want to see The Room. It just doesn't interest me because it's not a good or a bad movie based on what I heard. It's just some movie. Um, Maybe it's actually terrible, and that's why it's so known. But to compare this to The Room, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen The Room, so I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh. Uh, the third critique: one of the ugliest self-portrait in the history of pop star movies. Alternately self-loathing and self-pitying, solipsistic, and grimly exacerbating. If you're a scholar of pop stardom, it's also essential. And that's someone that liked it? That's weird. That's weird. Now, why? That's weird. Um, I guess that was the comment. It's often gorgeous to look at, even hypnotic, and yet for all its visual brilliance and shots, often masterful direction, Hurry Up Tomorrow ultimately buckles under the weight of its own self-importance. Okay, I guess that's the critique out there. Tesfaye is a very charismatic and can act. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to showcase his skills, and the plotless story written by the musician with Schultz and Reza Fahim, it works better as a visual album than a narrative film. I think that person is probably the most disgenuine one in the bunch. I think there were a lot of things that were shown. There was a lot of showing. And the biggest example was, again, I will spoil something here. At some point, the main character get knocked out, and he descends in hell as some kind of nightmare. And it showed how his nightmare is the empty world and he goes in hell. And it was also shown with the elevator showing floor 6. Sorry about that. Um, 6 represent hell in a lot of things. And the other thing is a lot of things that the main character does is very self-destructive, and they were showing it in using substance before a show, and even the main antagonist, the girl that happens to be the weird fan, she is good at destroying everything she touches, and like the opening scene she has was burning up an entire house. So again, that movie has a lot of showing over telling. Um, so I don't know. Again, to each their own, but I strongly disagree. So we got the 5 critiques. So let's see all audience. The top 5. So you see, the audience is mixed. We got two, well, actually not that mixed. It's two good, one mid, and two bad. So something new and thought provoking. I do agree with that. Um, Now the next one. Hurry Up Tomorrow is the acted and narrative pop star drama, which is in its attempt to being something profound, ends up delivering a scattered, underwhelming experience. I thought there were a lot of mistakes throughout the movie, so I disagree to say it pretends to be profound. Is it like the deepest movie there is? I don't think so. But it has substance. And we will get into that substance on my review, but I think maybe that person missed some of it, missed some of the point the movie was trying to make. Um, the next thing, absolutely horrible movie. Me and my friends were the only two people in the entire theater watching it. It makes sense. Again, most of the critique we covered so far didn't like the movie, and even one of the critique that liked it didn't seem like they liked it. So it's not surprising, and even my theater was also empty, and that was the day it came out. Um, so it's not surprising. Stevia B. I loved the not so shocking but shocking turn of events of just how insane the one night stand unfurled into. Same. She is Jenna Ortega. I feel like Jenna Ortega gets all of these movies and she is really good. She is probably one of my favorite actress in Gen Z, and she is like the second lead of that movie, which is great. Um, it's I like most of the movies I've seen her in. I can't remember a movie I didn't like Jenna Ortega. Um, Very shallow, empty movie. It's one of those where you know they are trying too hard to be sophisticated and to have a deeper meaning. Well, it has some of the meanings. Maybe you missed the point. Or maybe I'm too generous with it. I don't know. When all it is really is a bunch of visual, which are enjoyable, and a soundtrack playing in the background to a structureless plot. Well, I will get into it in my review, but there's a plot. Um, the only aspect making it worth sitting through is the pure unexpected psychosis of Jenna Ortega's character. I think she was probably one of the best aspects of that movie. She was very fun. Jenna Ortega is amazing. So these were the Rotten Tomato people. So now let's look at IMDb the same way we did with Rotten Tomato, and here um, it's ugly, just like Rotten Tomato. So here we are. That's the next thing. Um, I got blinded by the light. That's the title of that review. Kind of sad, I will be honest. But I get it. I see it. It's an okay movie, but not what I was expecting story wise. I do get why a lot of Die-Hard Weekend fans will like it, and I don't want to take that away from them. But coming from a semi fan who really enjoyed the album, it could have been a lot better. Now, I gotta say, I'm not a Weekend fan. I don't care. I didn't know that. Well, I heard that name floating around, but I didn't hear any of his music prior to that movie. And I can tell. I liked it. I liked that movie. A lot of fluff could have been cut to make a much better ending. I don't know. I doubt it, but again, I liked the movie and he didn't. And I'm not just talking about an important scene. There are several moments where characters just stand and do nothing for like 6 seconds or so. Basic information, even slight fan of the weekend should know is spoon fed, while critical information about the entire movie has to be pieced together as the credit roll. It is pretty emotional. This I agree. I did tear up in many instances, and maybe that's why I like so much that experience, because when I feel stuff watching movie, it already gets points. It just could have been executed so much better. Also, if you all suffer from epilepsy or dizziness, do not see that movie. There's no warning, but there's a ton of bright, rapidly flashing lights and fast moving camera angle. In my theater, there was a warning, so maybe it's more of a theater thing where regulation are different depending where you watch that movie. Um, so that's that critique. Number two, it feels unnecessary prefacing this by saying I am a huge fan of The Weeknd and was willing to give this film a chance after The Idol. That being said, this film just felt wholly unneeded. It might be better than The Idol, sure, but that's not saying much. But it didn't really do anything narrative wise, development wise. This I disagree. The best way I describe it, this would be it feels like a long music video with nice shots. Maybe too many songs, but lacks any real substance to it. Again, I disagree. I think a lot of people miss the point of that movie, but hey, who am I? What do I think? What do I say? I will say I appreciated some parts, especially when there was a dive into Abel's introspection in the dream sequences. But the issue was it really just didn't dive deep enough to be meaningful and ultimately fell flat. This I could see where that person is coming from. So the third one, I'm spinning. Abel defies Hurry Up Tomorrow flirts with greatness, but gets caught in its own spin, literally. The overused spinning camera becomes more distracting than dynamic and pulls from a otherwise intimate movie that gradually finds its own rhythm. The small cast works well, and the slow burn structure kept me guessing what kind of movie it really was until it clicked into place. It tries a little too hard to feel surreal, and there's definitely some ego stroking going by The Weeknd. A few memorable moments. It's Trey Edward short and feels like its ambition uneven and intriguing. So these are the last two we will be covering. It's an absolute train wreck. I honestly thought Weekend had hit rock bottom with The Idol, but this movie proved me wrong. I went in with low expectation and still managed to disappoint me on every level. This isn't a film, it's a overlong, pretentious disaster masquerading as art. That's harsh. I disagree, but hey, that's his take, right? About 60% of the runtime feels like a glorified music video, 30% is pointless, dragged out dialogue, and remaining 10% is the camera spinning in circle like someone just discovered how gimbal works. And The Weeknd he plays himself, crying, sweating, sulking in literally every single scene. I swear he made this movie just to show he can cry on camera. Mission accomplished, I guess. Bruh! This is savage. What's this movie? Hurry Up and Tomorrow. It's a weekend uh biopic, a weekend fiction. It's hard to explain to someone that hasn't seen. It's a thriller about an artist that does pop music. I think I don't know much about The Weekend, but this is the movie. And right now we are reading other comments because I will be honest. I enjoyed and liked that movie a lot, but I think I'm the only person in the world that liked that movie and that will stand by that movie. Um, and I feel like it's really entertaining and hilarious to read out other people. Um, so again, I read through these notes because I don't know many people that have seen that movie, and I want to have a interesting discussion about it. Can The Weeknd be very pretentious? I guess this is the overall thoughts of a lot of people. Uh, and as of right now, I didn't dive deep into the movie yet. Still reading through the comments because it's relevant. Again, I think it's a good movie. It's overly aided, um, and I can see where some of the persons are coming from. But again, um, the last comment we shall cover before I review the movie felt like a survival endurance test. Oh my. Okay. Okay. It starts well. The title "Hurry Up Tomorrow" is incredibly appropriate because the entire time I was watching, I just wanted it to hurry up, and then calling this a film is generous. Gosh, surviving it felt more like a cinematic endurance test. Oh, why? Why am I the only one that liked that movie? The plot is laughable, shallow, padded with so much pointless fluff that the pacing is downright painful. I strongly disagree, but hey, who am I? About this vacated weekend essentially plays himself and not well. I guess he plays himself. That makes sense. That's why I thought it was believable. His acting is so stiff, it's almost impressive. Sharing scenes with Jenna Ortega only make it worse. She effortless outshines him at every turn, making his performance look like a high school drama. So, wow! That's true. How can you play yourself not well? I don't know, Sparkle. I don't. But that person clearly hates that movie or the weekend. I don't know. And I will say Jenna Ortega is amazing in that movie. And now that's the segue to my review. So I will now review that movie. And I got so much to say. And I've before I really get into it, I've seen a lot of other people mentioning Misery. Misery was a very fun movie I liked. And I can see the parallels between Misery and this. And again, spoilers, the warning is made. Uh Misery had a fan that had a parasocial relationship with an artist. And we got the same thing here. Misery had someone stick on the bed by said fan because the said fan wanted to force out something out of the artist. And that was the same thing here. So I see the parallels, I get it. But I feel like if you stop there, you don't deeply understand what the movie was trying to do this time around. Um, so yeah, that's the premise of my review. It's like, at some extent, Misery, but a different spin than what Misery tried to do. And I think this time around worked better. I like that movie more than Misery. I also think it's a better movie, but I'm the only one on earth that thinks that way. Because most of these critics we covered tear it apart. Now, the first thing to say for my review. It's as much about the fans and crew that it's about the main character. People also gravitate around the pain and suffering of the main character. And I could relate a lot. Um, when you're an artist, you share a lot of yourself. And sometimes it does resonate with others. Um, the next thing is when pushed too far, the main character breaks on stage during his second show. So parts of the story of that movie is the main character has struggles, and a lot of his struggles are mental. And when he sees the doctor is like, "You're physically fine, but mentally you're not fine, and that can impact your performance. You can be very bad, and if you don't heal mentally, you can collapse. You can ruin your voice. You can ruin your health." And the first show we got in the movie was really bright lights heavy. It was blinding. It was interesting, and the other thing about that first show, it was to tell you, oh, look, he is good. He knows his things. He is competent. He is a good artist. And that movie is the downfall of the artist. The second time he goes on stage after telling his manager, I'm not ready, I'm not well, the manager still push him and make him use some substance to remain user friendly. So he goes on stage, he is a wreck, he is he is he is not well, and he doesn't perform well. And that's the start of the downfall, because after that he doubts and he wants to remove himself from that artist's life for at least a few hours because he doesn't feel good about it. He even wanted to cancel the entire tour, but he was kind of forced into continuing that tour. And that's interesting. Um, so when pushed too far, the main character breaks on stage. That's during the second show. And that was sad. That was like, man. And they were good at showing you that kind of messaging. They were good because he would look everywhere and not sing a thing. You could tell just by watching how he performed that time around that he wasn't doing his best, or I should say, he wasn't able to do his best. He wasn't well physically, mentally. He was on stage, but he was a zombie on stage. So again, to go back to the critique that were like, oh, it's just a glorified album. Not really. It's more than that. Um, the next thing is the main character and Jenna Ortega both feed on each other worst and most negative sides. And that was a team. Yeah, and this is supposed to be based on himself. That's the movie. And again, they feed off each other worst sides. And that's a perfect example of a toxic relationship. To top that, they barely knew each other. Now, the next thing is Jenna Ortega wants honesty, while the main character struggled to open up, and the fact that his most personal song flopped proved nobody really listened to him, except, of course, the crazy fan. And I feel like a lot of the people that watch the movie and says there's no substance, they didn't understand that thing. And maybe I relate to that a lot because I'm an artist myself. I'm not known, I'm very small, I'm very amateur like, but I can relate. Some of the most personal stuff I put out there is some of the stuff less people have seen or heard about. It just doesn't work sometimes when you're personal and you don't know how to deliver it in a commercial way. It doesn't work. I wonder who the chick is in real life. It's Jenna Ortega. She is a big name. I'm sure you have seen many things she's in. Um, so next up, theme of when songs are twisted, they can be harmful. And again, that's represented in real life. Actually, it's very different. So basically, what's going on in that movie, the main character goes through a breakup, and for a lot of the movie, you are led to believe that Jenna Ortega character is girlfriend all the way up to their first true meeting. Then you realize she's actually a crazy fan, and that reveal is nice. So we don't really get to see the weekend girlfriend. We are led to believe for like a good 30 minutes of the movie that Jenna Ortega is the girlfriend, and it's about them reuniting, but they don't reunite really. The relationship is over and Jenna Ortega is just a fan that got too personal with the weekend. Um, so yeah, for most of the movie, you're like, oh, that's the girlfriend, because there are parallels, but not really. She ends up not being the girlfriend. Um, so the next thing to say is after getting knocked out, the main character lives a nightmare that brings him in hell. And it was depicted with the elevator saying floor 6. And he wasn't feeling well, and it was well shown, and it was empty, and it was an uncomfortable sequence, and I think that was the point of that entire descent to hell, as they call it. Um, the next stop would be the music was amazing, and each musical number and song used did push characters and story further. So it's more than just a glorified um, album, as a lot of people point out. The movie is a lot about healing and breaking bad circles. The movie was great at making me feel lots of emotion. I did tear up twice while watching. Shows what could happen to people with power social bonds with celebrities, and parts of it at some right in the middle, like he get knocked out by Jenna Ortega character before he's chained to the bed, and then a lot of things happen in his head, and then he wake up, he is chained to a bed, and he is not feeling well. Uh, and for a lot of the movie, he is high on substance, and he is also shown to be kind of manipulative, where just before it goes crazy with Jenna Ortega character, he basically tell, "Oh, you're my world," and it was saying everything a girl would like to hear, only to sleep with her. And when the deed was done, he wanted to go on with life, but she took it so seriously because she developed that power social bond with him that when he wanted to leave her, she got angry, and this is how she snaps, and how she just knock him out. And after him getting knocked out, this a dream sequence, a nightmare sequence, and that scene also explained what might be one of the reasons why the girlfriend broke up with the main character, because maybe he's like that with a lot of girls. Maybe she felt used. Maybe she realized he was toxic and she was feeding into that toxic. The next thing, there's a lot of self-destruction being made by the main character and Jenna Ortega character. They are both like really heavy in the self-destruction. So that movie really got personal to me because I've known people that had self-destruction behaviors. It's sad. I used to be one of them as well. I wasn't always well mentally. So that movie did resonate a lot with me. Um, Movie reflects very well how daddy issues can mess up someone through both main character backstory and what the backstory made them into. So again, that movie has a lot of very sad moments, and it's a very hard watch sometimes. Um, the next thing is it's all about toxic relationship. Jenna Ortega being destructive toward herself and in her relationship with her mother was one of the many example. Another example would be how there are hints at the main character being abusive toward his ex. The main character also seemingly discard everyone he wants is done. Rewind. The main character is also seemingly discarding everyone once he is done. The manager is seemingly best friend with the main character and force the main character to perform despite medical condition. The twist and turn were great, from the reveal of Jenna Ortega character not being the ex-girlfriend to her being a full-on nutcase. And again, I think Jenna Ortega was amazing in that movie. She She was the best part of it. And maybe that's why I like that movie so much. Jenna Ortega carried it on. Um, and all of the scenes where the main character does substance, and yeah, it's something. It's a movie I liked. There's more depth than a lot of people are trying to say. It's a bit unfortunate. Maybe I'm the only one on the world that liked it. Thought the pacing was fine. The first act is about the state of the main character, the downfall of the main character. The second act is what happens when things are out of his control, and it's him getting knocked out. And the third act is him revealing he's not being honest fully. And that movie was fun. It was my favorite movie among all. Maybe I'm crazy. Think it's a good movie, and a lot of the critique doesn't add up with the movie I have seen. But again, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I will give this movie a solid 10 out of 10. And you are crazy and glad that you liked it. Yeah. And again, I'm surprised because this year, I will be honest, since Companion that came out at the end of January, I was like, we got solid flicks, we got good movies, but nothing made me feel as much things as Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's a movie that does stands out for me, and it's sad that I'm the only one that apparently liked it. Um, it's a good flick. I like the experience, and yeah. With that being said, we will be gone very soon. Next Tuesday, we talk about Reservoir Dog with Matt and Superbald. Maybe we are lucky enough to get Gray. Just maybe. And next Thursday, we talk about Mission Impossible Final Reckoning with Matt again. I cannot wait. I will go see that movie 12 p.m. tomorrow. Cannot wait. This will be fun. We did review Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we did happen to see all of the Mission Impossible before the Final Reckoning. So next Thursday, we will have discussion about the franchise because Matt wasn't around on the channel when we covered the 7 other Mission Impossible, so he will share his thoughts. And then we will do a full review, a bit like the Final Destination stream we did like half an hour ago. With that being said, we are out. Have a great night. Take care.